Ani. It's my fifth State of the City address as your mayor, and I'm really glad to be back here with all of you again. I'd like to thank Michael McNamara for doing the recognition of our territorial lands of the Robinson-Huron Treaty and acknowledging people from Tikmashing, Chief Riche here from Tikmashing Nishnawdak First Nation. It's an incredible honor to be the first mayor in our amalgamated city to be reelected. And I want to thank my wife, Lori, who's here and has been here step by step all the way through 2 elections, sitting at the table right here today. I'd also like to take just a moment to thank today's event sponsors, CN, Eastlink, and Plan A Staffing Solutions. Thank you. If not for them, Debbie Nicholson and the Greater Sudbury Chamber of Commerce would not be able to put on such a great event year after year. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge the kitchen staff here at the Caruso Club and thank them for such a great meal. Being my fifth state of the city, the Caruso Club food is beginning to taste like home cooking for many of us, but I always appreciate it and thank you to staff here. I'd also, as I went through the crowd, I saw that former Mayor Jim Gordon is here. Thank Jim for always remaining fully interested in everything that's happening here in the community. And I also saw Floyd Locker in the audience as well. So just to acknowledge them in the audience. And I'd also like to acknowledge all my colleagues on City Council. Essentially, we have the entire council here today. And so that's great, a great sign of support. They're a hardworking group and as well as city staff that are here in attendance. I'm thrilled to be able to continue our work together as we move our city forward. As I begin, after 4 years, I'm taking a moment to brag about what we've been able to get done and where I see us going as a city. Together, we've made great progress. Nous avons réalisé de grands progrès. We really are in a great place to live, invest, grow, and prosper. We are Canada's happiest city. Within the last year, we were identified as the second most affordable city in Ontario. According to Youth Bank of Canada, we are the 4th best city in all of Canada for young people to work based on affordability, access to leisure activities, and entrepreneurial opportunities. Over the last 4 years, we've been listening, planning, building, and growing. And we have a vision. Et nous avons une vision. A vision of how we want to guide and support the people and businesses in our city to develop our economy and control how the city spends your money. And it's a vision that enhances service quality, focuses on the quality of life and the quality of our environment for everyone in Greater Sudbury. As the saying goes, it's all about the economy. But I say, it's all about the people. Cities and industries of the future are being built around concentrations of people and expertise. And we have the greatest concentration of hard rock underground mining expertise in the world. All of this, as transportation and industry shifts from fossil fuels to battery electric technologies that require nickel, copper, cobalt, and lithium, all extracted from within our city and Northern Ontario. As communications and automation continue to advance globally, mines will be operated through control rooms from Coppercliff or Onaping. Mines operated everywhere around the world. Technology, automation, robotics, science.
It will be an important part of our city's future. Ce sera une importante partie de l'avenir de notre ville. We have been promoting ourselves to the world, and the world is responding. We are growing and maturing as an attractive international destination for mining, science, and technology. And this is bolstered by our excellent and successful mining service and supply companies that are expanding from a base in Greater Sudbury and working in dozens of countries on every continent. We must continue to work closely with our local businesses. We must continue to work closely with our schools and post-secondary education institutions. We must nurture, support, and develop the skills and knowledge our current and future Sudburyans will need to flourish and prosper in this future for our city. We must continue to attract and retain the best and the brightest of the mining industry as a growing part of our global center of expertise. Now, fortunately, we've been identified as an important and welcoming city for immigration, to both the northern and rural immigration pilot, as well as Francophone immigration initiatives by the federal government. These programs will be employer-driven, and so they will fill those spots where people are having challenges finding those skills and talents in our Sudbury that we know today. Our workplace development strategy is working. But getting here took a lot of work at many levels in our community. When I first became mayor in 2014, our economy was sitting above a 6% unemployment rate. In fact, we peaked at about 8.6% in May of 2016. It was a challenging time for the mining industry and our community. C'était une période difficile pour notre communauté. But as we all know, we are as resilient as we are resourceful. And as our community has done time and time again, we found a way and came out on top. And it's important that I emphasize it took positive energy. It took a community effort to get us here. And this time last year, we were just shy of 7% unemployment, and look at us now. The most recent labor force data available shows Greater Sudbury's unemployment rate at 5.1%. This is the lowest level since August of 2008, and one of the lowest our community has ever experienced. Our local economy is booming, and in fact, since May 2019, we've been the fourth strongest growing community in all of Canada when it comes to employment growth, and that's from Stats Canada. Truly fantastic news. Ce sont des nouvelles vraiment fantastiques. And what have we been doing? And what we have been doing, what we are doing, is working. Few might know, but based on 2016 census, the report prepared by Hempson, we're the only Northern Ontario municipality forecasted to grow. I wonder if they checked the numbers today, what they would say. But our success, the success of Greater Sudbury is enjoying today, didn't start with acting, it started with listening. From the Valley to Lively, from Chelmsford to Llewellyn, we listened. People said they weren't getting the service they wanted from City Hall. They wanted better two-way communications. So last fall, our city approved the first ever enterprise-wide customer service strategy. And what does this mean for you? It means establishing standards like 2-day response times for all emails and calls to city staff, and improvements to 311, ensuring that we resolve or answer more questions at the first point of contact. Right after my second term began, I followed up on my promise to work with those who share in the effort to grow, thrive, and make Greater Sudbury a better and more modern city. And that meant hearing from the experts and learning how we can work together. I've now hosted 2 of what are scheduled quarterly development meetings, and I've met with as many as 40 investors, local developers, and construction companies to hear directly from them about the issues they've been facing. These people are building and developing in every part of our city. They are the key to job creation. They are the key to creating a larger commercial, industrial, and institutional tax assessment base. These meetings have been eye-opening. And I can say I listened and then acted. It was clear that our policies needed to be overhauled and our approach adjusted. And we've already made great progress on that front. Et nous avons déjà réalisé de grands progrès à cet égard. For starters, the ones investing hard-earned dollars should not be the ones chasing city staff. It's why we've assigned a full-time staff liaison to be the point of contact to assist developers in navigating through the planning and construction processes in our city. We've modified the process of receiving and reviewing early development applications by the Sudbury Planning Application Review Team to better serve those looking to invest and help our city grow. In the most recent election and during my inauguration, I promised every resident of our city that I would do everything I could to make our city open for business. And just a couple weeks ago, we reformed our bylaws regarding development charges. Even though development charges have been a solution for many cities experiencing significant growth, we're not there yet. So let's be clear. Development charges have an intended purpose and can be used effectively and strategically. That said, I was told by many that development charges have hindered a number of projects from moving forward and have forced projects to scale back. That's just not acceptable for a city looking to grow. And I'm proud that Council supported me in my efforts and voted to reduce development charges by 50%. This will stimulate growth and create new jobs. We're also bringing people back to the core. In our plan to rejuvenate downtown and main streets and town centers throughout our city, the fact of the matter is that as a city, we also have to do our part to stimulate private sector investment and growth that will complement our own investments. And we are. When you look at Maley Drive, it'll be completed this year. And MR35, we're currently working on. And community assets like the Junction, we've selected the site. And La Place des Arts, well on their way. In the Kingsway Entertainment District. After decades of underinvestment in these types of projects, we are investing hundreds of millions of dollars more in capital infrastructure. We all know, everyone in this room knows, that Greater Sudbury is a great place to do business and invest. And I can assure you, as a council, as mayor, we're doing everything we can to attract business here. I know of at least one major company that will be relocating here in the coming months, and we're very excited to see this happen. We're working together, private and public sectors, to grow our city. Nous travaillons ensemble, les secteurs privés et publics, à faire croître notre ville. In addition to the promises I made to encourage growth and development in support of our local economy, I fully believe we must change how things work at the Greater Sudbury Development Corporation. We all know there's been a lot of conversation about my motion, and this was expected. And this was discussed with the other members of the GSDC on City Council. Time is money. Delays in investment lead to tens and hundreds of millions of dollars lost to our community. Quite simply, to receive municipal taxes on a new property, on a new investment this year, rather than next year or 5 years from now, that's what investors are looking to invest. They want to invest now, and we want those returns, and we want that growth. City Council is accountable to voters in our city, and in fact, the financial investment decisions are already being made by City Council. So let me be clear. It's about working together, sharing information, elevating economic development, and improving the timelines of our knowledge to and response to opportunities in our community. I would like to thank the board for their hard work. It has been appreciated, and this community has many, many hardworking volunteers who we appreciate, who help us each and every day. I've asked for a deferral of my motion to September to allow staff, along with GSDC, the ability to provide a report to council on a new governance structure and what this might look like. This time will also allow staff to provide a report with terms of reference, detailing what a select cabinet might look like and how this would work. I'm always looking at new ways to make sure we are championing our city in the most effective way. But being part of a community and leading a city can't only be about the bottom line. I also promised to address community safety. J'ai aussi promis d'aborder la question de la sécurité communautaire. During the campaign, I heard from many business owners and residents about the issue of security in our downtown. I discussed this issue during the election because it does impact business owners. It does deter residents looking to shop, looking to access services or enjoy the great food in the area. It impacts tourism as well. I was very happy to see Chief Pedersen allocate more officers downtown. And today, we have more feet on the street, as they say. And it's a big step, I believe, in addressing some of the challenges faced in the area. But we know there's a lot more work to be done. And this includes the vital work of our community drug strategy. The reality is that in our community, la réalité, c'est que dans notre communauté, we are up against a drug crisis, as well as homelessness, mental illness, and addictions. And we're taking concrete action with the Coordinated Access Program, Housing First Strategy, and Homelessness Network to find sustainable options when it comes to the appropriate support and housing for those people in need. By working together with organizations across the community, we're now better able to draw together various services and provide a way to share information about people so they get the full range of assistance that they need. There is a real crisis that's impacting people across our entire community, as well across our entire country. It can't be ignored. And as I said, homelessness is a community crisis. It's going to take a council and a community response. A perfect example of that, council and community response, is located at 199 Larch Street. With the city's support and ability to provide this space and a strong partnership between the city, CMHA, provincial government, and Sudbury District Nurse Practitioner Clinic, we're building a facility that will allow us to give our most vulnerable citizens better access to services and a chance at a better life. Quite simply, we're providing a hand up. We'll soon be able to house the off-the-street shelter, 15 supportive housing units for those in the managed alcohol program, an Indigenous healing space, and a Sudbury District Nurse Practitioner Clinic on the shared site. We'll also be able to better address some of the safety concerns that residents have in our downtown core by addressing issues like improving the lighting, adding surveillance cameras, and ensuring that things like needles are picked up and away from the public. It's a truly innovative way of being able to provide care to those in need in Greater Sudbury, and will serve as a critical piece of social and health infrastructure for decades to come. Now, I want to talk about another kind of infrastructure. You knew it was coming. À présent, je veux parler d'un autre genre d'infrastructure in roads, something we all depend on every single day. I understand the concerns raised by all of you and know that we need to take a new approach. If we're going to chip away at our infrastructure gap, and we've made progress, and Council has significantly increased our investment in road spending. How significant? We're tendering approximately $71 million of road-related capital projects this season. In addition to that, we also received an extra $10 million in gas tax from the federal government, which will be spent on roads, including the Kingsway. That's $81 million on roads alone. All this to say, it's going to be an incredibly busy construction season. From Capriol to Chelmsford to Coniston, we do need to do better. We all know that. De Capriol à Chelmsford jusqu'à Coniston, nous devons faire mieux. Nous le savons tous. And we need to explore new options, methods and processes to remedy our roads. One process, and it shows promise, is called HIR, hot in place recycled asphalt. It reuses the asphalt that we as taxpayers have already paid for. It's in our roads. Instead of paying contractors to remove our old asphalt and then paying for new asphalt, we seriously need to consider recycling the asphalt that we already own from within our roads. And with HIR, we'll get significantly more lifetime out of our existing assets. This was a process used until 2003 in Ontario by the MTO and is used across North America, including places like British Columbia that also experiences very challenging winter periods. The MTO has brought it back, and we're currently reviewing it with our city engineers. If it works, this process could yield savings of roughly 40% of the cost of what we're currently paying to fix many of our roads. Think of the ripple effects. We could reinvest into repairing more of our roads, which will tackle our infrastructure gap, giving motorists and all of us the relief we've all been begging for. And it's better all around for the environment. I truly believe this could be a big opportunity for our community to tackle our road challenges. We're allocating some money to do a test this year, and if I had a wish, sharing the success of HIR will make its way into next year's State of the City. And as I conclude, the final piece of the State of the City is something we must all acknowledge. The impacts of climate change are real, and the City of Greater Sudbury takes this situation very seriously. Together, this council voted unanimously to address the situation. 40 years ago, the foresight of VTEC and the Land Reclamation and Regreening Program, it's extraordinary to see the vision that has been in our community for all of these years. And it's taken a community to plant 10 million trees over the last 40 years. We're seeing the impact that things like extreme weather events have on our infrastructure, buildings, tourism, and emergency services, among others. Residents in Greater Sudbury take great pride in our environment. That is for certain. Les résidents de Grand Sudbury sont très fiers de notre environnement. Cela, c'est certain. And just as we did in the previous 4 decades with that world-renowned regreening program that saw over 10 million trees planted, it's going to require a community-wide effort to ensure our city, our homes, our natural surroundings, and our well-being are protected and resilient. We have a number of plans that we are acting on that aim to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and prepare ourselves to adapt to future challenges posed by climate change. In fact, the city is actively completing a community energy and emissions reduction plan. The plan is intended to provide real, actionable strategies to make our community more sustainable, less reliant on external sources of energy, and to produce less harmful emissions. Our council clearly recognizes that our community can have a significant impact on becoming more resilient to climate change, particularly if we all work together. By moving to a one-bag limit per week, we will enhance waste diversion and extend the life of our landfill. Also, among our efforts is a focus on transportation, including public transit, cycling, and increasing access to our trail networks across our community. By September, the Transit Action Plan will lead us closer to achieving many more environmental targets. Public transit is only one piece to our plan to change how we get around our community and to work and to school on time. And yet, in another great step, construction is slated to begin in one of the city's most ambitious cycling projects yet, the Paris Notre Dame Bikeway. Once complete, this will offer cyclists a separate, continuous, well-designed and comfortable route to travel that's never been seen before in our community. It will stretch from the Four Corners to LaSalle Boulevard, a safe, rider-friendly form of transit. It's important to remember that in all of our efforts, we work to connect all systems, including public transit, cycling, and walking trails, to allow seamless travel in a more modern city. Finally, as I've said time and time again, our city succeeds because of teamwork. Our council is made up of myself and 12 hardworking and very dedicated councillors who give so tremendously of themselves, their time and their families, all to benefit the city we all enjoy. But as a council, we can't do it all on our own. Private sector investments will grow our city and our economy. Dedicated volunteers will help our city perform in ways that we never imagined were possible. Development, attraction, and retention of people will be crucial. We will do this together by creating the environment and the city that everyone wants to live in. Mes amis, l'état de notre ville est franchement le meilleur qu'il a été depuis longtemps. Friends, the state of our city is frankly the best it's been in a long time. That's the result of a shared effort, and only together can we make it better for everyone. So thank you. Merci. Jim Mikulch. Have a great summer.
Mayor Bigger, on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Greater Sudbury Chamber of Commerce, thank you very much for enlightening us on the state of the city. If you do have time, we'd like to open up the floor for questions. So we have a couple microphones, I think, going around the room. If anyone has any questions for the mayor, please just raise your hand and we'll have a microphone come out to you. Don't be shy. No? Happy bunch. Happiest city in Canada, I guess. No? Oh, there's one. So the question was, just so everyone could hear, is the city, with respect to roads, planning on hiring more employees or more equipment or some combination thereof?
Well, I think everyone, anyone who knows me knows I'm a strong supporter of contracting in. I'm a supporter of developing internal expertise. And I've learned over the years that when you have a dedicated team, and a consistent team that really knows their job and takes pride in their job, the level of quality that you can experience and achieve through that is very important to any organization, as well as retaining corporate knowledge with the amount of turnover that we're starting to see with employees. Very important to organizations because the contractors as well are having turnover. And so retaining corporate knowledge, having that control over quality, very important to me, and absolutely open to those ideas at all times.
Yes, in front.
Good speech. Speaking of staffing, what's the contingency if your staff decide to strike this summer?
So the question was, what is the mayor's contingency plan if staff decides to strike this summer?
Well, just through a normal process, we're very hopeful that we'll have a positive result, and I think things are going well. And so we'll be prepared to fill in the most core service and the key services as we always would be prepared. But obviously, very hopeful that we don't have any service disruptions.
Any final question for the mayor? Yes, Kevin.
Thank you, Your Worship, for the speech. You had talked a little bit about active transportation and the transit master plan in terms of the impact to the environment, and especially in relation to the declaration of climate emergency by council. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the economic impacts of those initiatives, public transit and active transportation, and how those could be not just an initiative in support of the environmental goals of council, but also the economic initiatives and the economic goals of government.
So that was a long question. But essentially it was with respect to the active transportation plan, can you speak to it not just from an environmental perspective, but also from an economic perspective?
Maybe not exactly the answer you're looking for, but I truly believe in the technologies that are here today and coming our way, and I actually believe there's opportunity in Sudbury for an entire industry of battery electric transportation, whether it's by bicycles, what have you, in our community. And I've actually talked to a few of our councillors about that, and so the opportunity is for us and people in our community to come up with those innovative ideas and perhaps develop new industry. But I'd love to see us producing batteries here for a very quickly growing group of industries that are responding to battery electric technologies.
Okay. Is there, one more.
I just wanted to thank you at the beginning for acknowledging Timikshin. I think doing those land acknowledgements are really important because they speak to reconciliation, and we have to breathe life into them, really. And it's not just about naming off all the groups of people that live here, but it's about acknowledging the people that lived here prior to settlement. And this is really a Timikshin and Anishinaabe Territory. So I wanted to thank you for that. We're also a part of the Robinson-Huron Treaty, and we consider that we're all treaty partners and treaty people. So I want to thank you for the great presentation, and I'm very happy to be here to hear it. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the Indigenous Healing Center that you had mentioned.
So the question, just in case anyone didn't hear in the back, it was about the Indigenous Healing Center that was mentioned earlier. Just a follow-up question to explain a little bit more.
So that would be part of the 199 large facility that's currently under construction and hopefully completed construction by the end of the year. And it's just one element of that entire center. But very important, I think, when you're providing assistance to people, you're trying to give them a hand up in community, that you are sensitive to culture and to beliefs, and it's a caring and sharing and understanding environment. So that's really the extent of my understanding of the Healing Circle and that type of environment, but that is absolutely the intention in that facility. So thank you for your comments.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor. We'll leave it there.
Okay, thank you.
Again. I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the mayor and thank council for at the most recent council meeting, a decision was made to move forward with the smart meter installation, which I think is and on behalf of the chamber, is something that we looked at and heard presentations on and discussed around our board table. And it certainly sounded like a good idea, both from an environmental perspective as well as the economic benefits as well. So I'd just like to commend council on passing that motion. Well done. And your worship, as a token of our appreciation and in acknowledgement for you joining us today, the Chamber will make a donation to the Greater Sudbury Chamber of Commerce Student Bursary Fund in your name. So again, thank you very much. The monies collected in this fund are distributed equally at the end of the year in the form of a bursary to each of our post-secondary institutions. So again, thank you. Again, our appreciation goes out to today's luncheon sponsors, CN, Eastlink, and Plan A. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you again, Mayor Bigger, for continuing the legacy of previous mayors in addressing the business community on an annual basis. If media would like to gather in front of the Proud Member banner at the back of the room, the Mayor will join shortly for some interviews. It was wonderful to have you all with us today, and please enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Thank you.